ESPN. The line started forming outside Gamble Pavilion last night for a matchup of two top 15 teams as UConn is set to host Florida. Should be a terrific game, and welcome to Stores. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Seth Greenberg, the coach. Andy Katz will join us in just a moment. If you're looking for an early litmus test for these two programs, this might be it tonight.
Connecticut, one of the most dynamic backcourts in the country. Ryan Boatwright, Shabazz Napier. And for Florida, the return of Scotty Wilbekin, a guy that can get downhill, and Michael Frazier, he knocks down threes.
Well, you mentioned the guards for UConn as we take a look at our one-on-one. The good news for Kevin Ollie is he's got guards that can rebound. The bad news might be they need some help.
Yeah, UConn, they lead the American Conference in defensive rebounds. They're last in offensive rebounds. Their guards do a great job of coming back and rebounding the basketball. But tonight and moving forward, their front court guys have got to be more alert and get to the offensive glass and extend possessions. And for Florida, how about Casey Prather? The guy's averaging 19 points a game as a senior. Prior to that, he was a three-point-a-game scorer. So what's the difference? He's playing to his strengths. He's bought into Billy Donovan. He's running the floor. He's getting to the offensive glass. And how about this stat? He's averaging 7 free throws a game. That means he's attacking the basket off the bounce.
Billy Donovan does not have a very deep bench, but at least he starts 4 seniors.
And 4 seniors is a huge advantage. You're talking about a mature team that's invested in winning. Scotty Wilbekin, a guy that can direct their offense. He understands what Billy Donovan wants and when he wants it. And then will you get, I call him the quintessential blend player. He's a 50-50 guy. Casey Prather, he's running the floor. And Patrick Young, I think he's been in school for about 15 years.
UConn is getting that third scorer that you need from DeAndre Daniels.
DeAndre Daniels, he can really score in a lot of different ways. They can post him up on the block where he likes to take a little separation and fade. He can shoot the trail 3, and he's very good in ball screen situations. The one thing for DeAndre Daniels, big fella, get to the glass. Let's help out those guards.
Andy Katz is with us as well tonight. And Andy, thin is the word for that roster for Billy Donovan.
That's right, Bob and Seth. First, I'm going to tell you who's not being able to play tonight. Casey Hill, still out with that high ankle sprain. In 4 games, he averaged 10 points a game. In a best-case scenario, he would come back for their Kansas game on December 10th, but he's still probably a couple weeks away, and they don't want to rush it. DeMontre Harris, still suspended, and Gator staff not optimistic that he's going to return because he's not taking care of business off the court. But you mentioned Scotty Wilbekin. I talked to him before the game. He now values and appreciates that scholarship. He's been humbled after sitting out the first 5 regular season games. He's ready to contribute. 12 points in his debut against Jacksonville, but only 2 of 12 against Florida State. This is a big game for Wilbekin against those UConn guards. Back to you guys.
And it's a big game from an atmosphere standpoint as well. You can tell that this is an event here at Gamble Pavilion. We mentioned the student section lining up last night to make sure they had their seats for this game. They had this as a circle on the calendar for quite some time.
No doubt about it. Hollywood is packed and rocking right now. Kevin Ollie's done a great job with this basketball program. He's a terrific teacher. He's a mentor to these young guys. And then Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan, so comfortable in his own skin. His team plays as efficient offensively and defensively as any team in the country.
Veteran officiating crew, Carl Hess, Jamie Lucky, and Michael Stevens. And we are underway. UConn off to a 7-0 start. They already have some close wins against some BCS conference teams in Maryland, Boston College, and Indiana. Florida's only loss at Wisconsin. And who doesn't lose at Wisconsin is Napier. Knocks down a 3. And just like that, the Huskies are on the board.
Shabazz Napier getting it going early. Usually he tries to get others involved. Kevin Ollie trying to get him started right from the start.
Off the foot of Boatwright. It'll stay with the Gators. The Gators are coming off of a Friday night 1-point win over Florida State. So Billy Donovan, who's taken the Gators to the tournament 13 times, won the SEC 5 times as well, has this team with only 7 scholarship players active right now. He thinks it's going to develop as the year goes on, but Wilbekin's return a big factor.
Wilbekin is a total difference maker. He plays downhill off ball screens. more importantly, he gives them great leadership. I think right now he's learned a great lesson. And when something's taken away from you, Bob, you realize how much you miss it. And I think right now Scotty Wilbekin will be the leader that Billy Donovan wants.
Daniels on the drive. That's thrown back and run down in the corner. Saved for the moment, at least by Prather. But it's right back to the Huskies. Napier for three. Frazier with the rebound in traffic. Prather attacks the basket. There may have been an inadvertent whistle. The officials were telling the players to play on, but the players stopped as if a call had been made.
Well, these guys have never been so happy to see me. I saw those guys before the game. They actually like me now.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I would say humored you might be more of an accurate way to put it. And we are tied early as a step back three fight. Scotty Wilbekin knocks the game.
And that's so important for someone on Florida to make some jump shots besides Michael Frazier.
Weak side rebound by DeAndre Daniels.
Florida going to double that post big to big with Patrick Young.
Napier gathers the loose ball with plenty of time on the shot clock. Boatwright one-on-one. Patrick Young pulls it down. Prather in the lane. That's blocked by Calhoun. Nice crossover by Boatwright. He gives it up, but unable to throw it down. Inside was Philip Nolan.
Terrific change of direction, change of speed by Boatwright. Nolan's got to finish that in the lane.
Jump hook rolls off for Will You Get.
Well, both teams don't run a secondary offense. They just play out of transition, do a good job of getting that ball reversed quickly.
Another UConn turnover. 2-on-1 with the two guards. Frazier will take it himself, and Florida's got the lead.
After Frazier attacking the basket, your rule in transition in the 2-on-1. In your lane, out of your lane. The defender, Ryan Boatwright, was not between the ball and the basket. You got to think score first.
And how good has Frazier been? The sophomore already this season has 3 games where he's hit 5 or more threes.
He's one of those guys, every time he shoots it, you think it's going in.
Speaking of which,
that guy shoots it, you think it's going in also. Great job of curling off of that down screen. Napier coming off shot ready.
So Florida now 2 for 5 from the field. UConn is 2 for 7. And we're tied at 5. Foul called underneath on the Huskies.
Would you call that freedom of movement or lack of movement? It is hard to bump cutters right now with the new rules. In the old days, you try to stand the guy up, try to distort the timing of that cross screen. Now it's a foul, trying to create more scoring. We're getting more free throws. I don't know if we are getting more scoring, but it's through the free throw line right now.
So interesting watching Kevin Ollie run his shoot around. You kept bringing up the 3 letters that seem to be at the crux of a lot of what he does. As Wilbekin drives, throws one wildly off the glass, and he'll go to the free throw line. But with Kevin Ollie, NBA. He brings a 13-year NBA career where he was with 11 different teams over those 13 years. Now that has to speak to organizations wanting his poise and a future coach on their bench.
13 years, 13 one-year contracts, which is amazing. And he played for some terrific coaches. But one of the reasons he stuck around the league so long is because he is a terrific leader. He's a great locker room guy. He understands the game. And the way they play, look, Jim Calhoun is his mentor. But this program, this is his system. Right? It's the UConn program, but the system that Kevin Ollie has installed is an NBA-type system. You'll see both of these teams. Right? They rely on ball screens. And offensively and defensively, ball screen offense and defense will be a key in this basketball game.
Devon Walker just came on for the first time. He sprained his foot a week and a half ago against Jacksonville. They weren't sure how many minutes he was going to be able to give the Gators tonight. Now a giveaway underneath. And Daniels, after the Cardinal send, saving it under your own basket. Well, Daniels throws it down to put UConn on top.
You cannot save the ball under your own basket. Right up going out of bounds. If not, throw it down the other side of the floor. Wilbekin out of the game. The point guard now, Dorian Finney-Smith at 6'8".
Again, offensive rebound. Tries again. On his way down to the deck. Turns it over. So UConn has the lead. We mic'd up Kevin Ollie yesterday at UConn's practice. So we'll take you behind the scenes. Inside access with Kevin Ollie and the Huskies when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2014 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award. T-Mobile, now your choice is simple. T-Mobile, unleash. And Warner Brothers Pictures Grudge Match, in theaters Christmas Day.
With a 1-point lead over Florida, and yesterday at UConn's practice, Kevin Ollie kind enough to wear a microphone for us and allow us to go behind the scenes.
Low. Get under that. It's going to be Young. He about 260, all muscles. He going to go right here, and he going to try to dunk it on you. But if you over here, now we tagging. That's what point guard do. When he's sitting over there, let them do what they do, and you thinking ahead of the game. Good job.
And Seth Greenberg, Kevin Ollie is making this program his own. It was thought, obviously, for the longest time to be Jim Calhoun's. He was raised under Calhoun, but he has his own style.
Without a doubt. He's part teacher, part preacher, part coach. I mean, he's the total package. He's been influenced by 13 years in the NBA, and he has a great rapport with his players.
Let's go over to Andy Katz with more.
Remember, a year ago at this time, he was on a 7-month contract. He didn't get that multi-year deal until the end of December. But I can tell you, after being around Ollie quite a bit in the last year and a half, he never treated this as an interim job. Right when he got the tag at the beginning of last season, it was as if it were a full-time gig, and he has taken it from that point, this point forward, and he has really embraced this gig.
And he has earned it. There's no question. It seems as if the UConn fan base has embraced him as the next era of basketball for this program. The left-handed shot won't go for Patrick Young.
The guy bleeds blue. He loves this institution. He's an NBA coach that's coaching in college right now. Coming out of the timeout, Billy Donovan goes to the press, creates a turnover, look for him to go back to the press.
A throwaway in the corner, third turnover for UConn. That was the San Croma who turned it over.
Now, both teams are really very similar defensively. They both play in gaps. They both try to keep the game in front, do a good job of contesting shots. And when we get to these ball screens, you're going to see both teams basically defending the ball screens by trying to keep the ball on the sideline.
Prather through traffic, hits the underside of the rim, hits his own miss, tries again, and scores inside.
And that's what we talked about in the open. Casey Prather, years past, he would have settled and taken that jump shot. Instead, he attacks the basket, stays with the play, keeps the ball alive, extends the possession, and gets a putback. Little 1-3-1 zone right here from Florida, playing in passing lanes. It's not just a flat 1-3-1 zone, but what I call a lane zone.
Nolan, nice head fake to allow the flyby.
Great diagonal pass right there, beating the ring down on the seal down.
Already 4 lead changes and a foul call. That'll be a moving screen called on Dorian Finney-Smith. So it's a Florida turnover.
Right here, you see them pushing the ball out. This 1-3-1, great recognition. Weak side diagonal pass. Phil Nolan with the finish. The weak side wing's got to seal down inside that low post player. Let's see if Florida goes back to the 1-3-1 or goes back to man-to-man. Looks like they're man-to-man.
Nolan's only a sophomore. He had 8 points against Loyola, the last outing for UConn. That was a win a few nights ago, and that was his best offensive game so far.
Cromer played for Carl Hobbs at George Washington. A 5th-year transfer brings maturity, toughness, and a guy that can defend multiple positions.
Shot clock down to 5. Daniels gives it up. Get 5 for 3. Knocks it down.
That's one guy you cannot leave open. Great job of Connecticut making a second pass out of the double team and finding Nels Giffey.
Wilbekin can't answer. Run down in the corner by Croma. Giffey off to an amazing 3-point shooting start this season. He's now 16 of 23 shooting the 3. Croma straight away. That's off the mark. And overrunning the rebound underneath was Olander. Prather on the move. Shut down inside by Olander, but a foul call.
Here you see coming off this blitz of the ball screen. Terrific ball movement here. Shot fake. Giffey steps behind it. The second pass out of any double team is the best pass. Giffey steps into it, knocks down the 3. You've got to run him off the 3-point line. Giffey made 12 of his first 14 threes this season.
So he's cooled off, and he's still shooting 70% from 3. That's pretty good.
And he's another one of those guys that's shot ready. He's behind the ball on the catch. And he's a valuable weapon because he can play 3 and 4. And the versatility of both of these teams, having guys that can play more than one position and be just basketball players, puts great pressure on the defense.
He spent last summer playing for Germany's national team. And we were talking to Kevin Ollie earlier today about Napier, Boatwright, DeAndre Daniels, the different camps they went to. And he said Giffey going to play for the German national team was better than any of those camps. He was playing against Boris Diaw and Tony Parker.
Those experience really, you cannot duplicate them by just playing pickup back home.
Inside, dump down look by Young, but a whistle and a foul called underneath. And that will go against Niels Giffey. Andy?
Well, part of what Giffey came back from Germany with this season was even more confidence and leadership. You know, the last couple of years in his development, that's the one thing that's been missing from him, is to be a leader on this team and to feel not just like a complimentary player, but someone who can be counted on. And that's what Kevin Ollie says he can do now with Niels Giffey.
Giffey is huge. Again, another guy with maturity and experience. And this is a mature basketball team, but the guy that just came in now, he's got this place fired up.
Speaking
Amita
of huge,
Bryma, because I'll tell you what, he's a human backboard. He challenges every shot.
Oh, Wilbekin hits a 3 to make it a 1-point game. He can't challenge that one. But Amita Bryma on the floor for the first time as Tyler Olander picked up his 2nd foul. So he's the first player in any type of foul trouble for either team. Giffey off the curl. Croma turns it over. Under 12 minutes to go in the first half. Still a 1-point game. And Kevin Ollie, busy already. Work on the sidelines for UConn.
Great communicator, trying to get it done. Passionate about the Huskies.
Approaching the midway point of the first half. Still a 1-point game between number 12 and number 15 as Florida comes up for a test at UConn. And Billy Donovan earlier today talked about how short his bench is. Via suspension, via injury, this is not the group that he anticipated having. Having said that, he's found some production from some unlikely sources, and one of those unlikely sources is about to get some major minutes, you think, here in the first half.
Jacob Kurtz, he's averaging 19 minutes a game. The guy's Rudy. He was a manager last year. Now all of a sudden he's a contributing player and plays quality minutes. Against Florida, he came up with 2 or 3 huge offensive rebounds. He gives them toughness. He's a high-energy guy, and in a lot of ways, he embodies everything Billy Donovan's all about: competing, playing hard, and embracing your role.
An offensive foul call.
Unfortunately, he also embodied setting a moving screen by extending his arms. This kid is a tough kid and rebounds the ball.
I'm Bob Wischusen here with Seth Greenberg, who is still learning about the announcer curse. I'm not sure if you were aware of that as a coach, but the minute you start lauding a player on the floor, he's bound to set a moving screen, brick a ball over the backboard. Something bad's going to happen.
So you guys said a lot of things nice about me back in the day, huh?
So good job, yeah, cursing Jacob Kurtz. Shot clock at 10 for UConn. Behind the back, Napier. Defy pulls up, knocks it down.
When you poke Defy in a ball screen, I think you've got to switch that ball screen. You hard hedge, it's hard to get back to him.
Patrick Young catches it deep, turns, faces, and it's in and out. Napier fades away, tough shot, no good, and a push off underneath. The foul called on Kim Facey.
Let's take a look at Nels Defy. He finds a way to get open. Here he sets this run out ball screen. They stay with the ball handler, forces Patrick Young to rotate out. He attacks the big off the bounce, hard last dribble, pull-up jumper. Defy, he's not just a jump shooter. He's also an athlete. He has the ability to shot fake, put it on the floor, take a gap, does a great job hitting his last hard dribble to drive him up into that jump shot. He's a very complete player and a hard matchup at the 4.
Will you get in the post? Over the top of the shot blocker, Brimall.
Well, you get a terrific blend player. One thing missing right now from Florida, they need to find a way to get Michael Frazier involved in this basketball game. He's yet to have a clean look except for that run out. They need to find a way to get him off some screens, free him off penetration. Connecticut doing a terrific job taking him out of the game just now.
A fadeaway off the rim for Facey, and Wilbekin brings it back. Frazier thought about it, gives it up instead to Prather. He uses the window, and we have another lead change as Florida's on top. 4 points now for Prather.
Florida attacking in transition. Prather doing a great job of running the court and taking you into the body of the shot blocker.
Chroma, deep 2, air ball. And it's out of bounds to the Gators.
Florida doing a good job of getting the ball inside. Watch how patient Will you get as he works to the middle, and he does a nice job of stepping through and getting through the shot blocker. And then Prather, even against the 6'11", Bryman, does a good job of moving the defender, shooting a nice jump hook. Years past, he would want to be a jump shooter. Now, he's very comfortable in his own skin. He's playing to his strengths.
Young, nice look. And a chance at the free throw line for Casey Prather. And the journey to the tourney continues on ESPN tomorrow. Number 22 Michigan takes on number 10 Duke at Cameron. It's the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, part of Journey to the Tourney. Tomorrow night at 9:15 Eastern on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN.
It's going to be a great basketball game. I look at Michigan. They have to have Mitch McGeary on the floor. The problem is when Duke goes small with Hood and Jabari Parker, who does Mitch McGeary guard? Because both of those guys, they can take you off the dribble. It's going to be a terrific basketball game.
Casey Prather continues to work his way to the free throw line. Philip Nolan picked up that foul. That was his second. It's a 6-0 Florida run, and they've got the 3-point lead. So now Nolan and Olander both with 2 fouls apiece. And Nolan stays on the floor.
Everything for Florida is going inside and attacking Connecticut at the rim.
Boatwright floats. Doesn't get the roll. Patrick Young the rebound. Prather spins into a double team. Sets up Frazier. That hit the backboard first. Boatwright with a little hesitation dribble.
Great defensive transition by Florida. What I call outnumbering the ball, getting ahead of the play and building a wall to keep him in front. Florida really hasn't made a jump shot besides Wilbekin. What they're able to do is be able to attack in transition and pound the ball inside.
Shot clock down to 6. Boatwright off to Nolan. That won't go. The box out by Wilbekin as he somehow walled off DeAndre Daniels and ended up going to the deck as UConn's drought is now approaching 3.5 minutes. They haven't scored since we had close to 11 minutes to go here in the half. Benny Smith with a head fake, drives inside. Score the bucket, plus the foul. Dorian Finney-Smith with a chance for a 3-point play when we come back.
Dorian Finney-Smith, he's a multi-dimensional forward. Nice job of shot faking, taking it to the body of the defender. He's going to the line for a 3-point play.
Steve Weissman in studio over on ESPNU right now. Auburn at Iowa State. The Cyclones, highest ranking in 13 years. They are jacking up the threes right now. Naz Long and then Matt Thomas. They've already put up 13 threes for the mayor, Fred Hoiberg. They've made 4 of them. It's 30-17 Cyclones. Back to my guys, Bob and Seth.
All right, Steve, thanks very much. It's a 5-point lead for Florida. UConn has gone without a point for nearly 4 minutes, and it's an 8-0 Florida run. Seth Greenberg, you've been talking mostly about their work in the paint.
Florida's doing a terrific job attacking in transition and attacking the basket. Now, that's just a simple run-it-off defense. But in the half court, Scotty Wilkham, he's got 2 threes. But besides those 2 threes, everything is inside, trying to get a foot in the paint. Not always on the dribble, sometimes on the pass. Prather Prather, he's a versatile offensive player. He attacks the defender off the bounce. Florida, in years past, they've lived by the three. Now, they really only have, you take away Michael Frazier, and the rest of the team is shooting 25% from the three-point line. So what are they doing? They're attacking you off the bounce. They're putting undersized, skilled, athletic players on the block and letting them make plays at the rim.
And Patrick Young is really their only big body down low. He's 0 for 2 in the game. He hasn't scored and only averages about 9 points per game. But it's Prather averaging 19 a game. Dorian Finney-Smith averaging about 12 points per game. And they are undersized players, as you said, in the front court. Neither of those guys weighs more than 215 pounds.
Shabazz Napier's got to go and get himself a shot right now. I look for him to come off of some type of ball screen and get in the action.
Napier, tough shot. And he rolls it home.
Or just take a tough step back three, please. He loves the moment. Shabazz Napier, he has a great understanding of when he's got to try to go make a play for his team.
Prather attacks, lost it. Some contact, no foul called. It'll stay with the Gators. And Wilbekin coming back in.
Shabazz Napier has the ability to create space as a one-on-one player. He's got a great little step back and fade. And the thing about him is he gets to the next play. He's engaged in the game. He has terrific leadership skills.
There's the first bucket for Patrick Young.
That's huge for Billy Donovan's team. Patrick Young, most times he needs an angle. That time did a nice job going over his left shoulder, full extension. Nice jump hook.
That three won't go from the corner for DeAndre Daniels. And the drought continues for Connecticut.
Good repost right there by Finney-Smith. One thing about Florida, they're a terrific interior passing team. Great job of Patrick Young reading the double team, being patient. Great job of moving without the basketball by Prather.
Would you double team Patrick Young?
No. Especially if he doesn't have 2 feet in paint. I think you've got to make him a scorer, especially with the other weapons. The ability of those big, athletic, undersized front court players to slash and get big targets as coverage.
Daniels left alone, and now he gets a little home court shooter roll as that three goes down, and that gets UConn back up within 5. Wilbekin turns the corner, finds Young, but he traveled. Dragged the pivot foot. 5 turnovers now for Florida.
Really good job of throwing out of the corner. DeAndre Daniels stepping into that, getting his shooter's roll. His versatility offensively, he can play on the block, but really, he's a 3-man playing 4. So what is he? What we call a stretch 4.
We'll step aside for just a moment. 5:12 to go in the opening half, and it's the Gators by 5. Five-point lead for the Gators, 24-19 over UConn. Bob Wischusen here with Seth Greenberg, Andy Katz as well at Gamble Pavilion. And Shabazz Napier off to a pretty good start. He's gotten some help from his supporting cast. Omar Calhoun has not been a big factor, but the guards for UConn, Shabazz Napier and Ryan Boatwright, statistically are stuffing the stat sheet early. And Napier right off the timeout. It's a three off the feed from Boatwright.
Kevin Ollie, terrific coming out of timeouts. This is his NBA experience. He will write up a new set or a new action coming out of the timeout. He goes to his go-to guy, Shabazz Napier.
Frazier. That's no good. A chance for UConn now to tie or take the lead. A lot of fancy dribbling by Boatwright, but he doesn't end up going anywhere. Daniels lost it on the pass, but was fouled trying to feed Brimall.
Shabazz Napier coming out of the timeout. I call them special situations. He comes off that down screen, knocks down that big three. To me, if you win special situations, you have a chance to win a close game. That's out of timeout, side out of bounds, underneath out of bounds. Both coaches are terrific.
And Napier about to shoot the first free throws of the game for Connecticut as he's fouled by Wilbekin. Let's check in with Andy.
As you guys saw during shoot-around earlier today, Shabazz Napier, there was one point early when he took over on the court. He started directing players, telling them where they needed to be, and was really showing that kind of vocal leadership. And when I asked Kevin Ollie after practice about it, he says, look, that was unscripted. I didn't have to tell him to do that. He did that on his own, and that's the kind of leadership that he's brought back in returning to school this season.
Well, Andy, he was thinking, was he not, about possibly going to the NBA, but I guess the story was he promised his mom he'd get a degree, but also needed to mature more as a player?
That is true, but also got good advice. He was not a lock for the first round, and so if you're looking at a second-round pick, the question, of course, was should he come back and actually try to get into the postseason this season, because last season they weren't eligible. So Napier and Boatwright recommitting to UConn to try to get in the NCAA tournament when they're eligible this year.
And they have fueled this 8-0 run.
And a little three-quarter court trap just to kind of tempo the game, control the tempo of the game. Right now, the crowd's involved in it. Look for some type of ball reversal action. Billy Donovan's going to want to move the defense right now.
Shot clock at 8. Wilbekin gets a screen. He's in some trouble. Forces one up. A chance for a run out for Omar Calhoun.
Terrific defensive possession. They down the ball screen, keeping it on the side of the floor, and basically blew that side ball screen action up. They didn't let the ball get to the middle.
Boatwright threw it to nowhere. A miscommunication with Napier. So we'll step aside. Tied at 24, under 4 to go in the first half.
Steve Westman in studio. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report. Will the real North Carolina please stand up? A win over Louisville, losses to Belmont and UAB. We'll get to the bottom of the heels. Plus, the Duke-Michigan rivalry gets renewed tomorrow night. Bruce Pearl will tell you why the Blue Devils should win. BP, me, and you coming up at the break. Back to Bob and Seth.
All right, Steve, Bob Wischusen, Andy Katz here with the coach, Seth Greenberg, who takes us inside the play.
Connecticut's doing a terrific job of downing the side ball screens. Downing the side ball screen means keeping the ball on one side of the floor, not letting it get to the middle. Freeze it right here. You've got Ryan Boatwright. He's playing inside shoulder. He's not letting the ball get to the middle of the floor. The Florida continuity ball screen offense, if they can't get to the middle, they can't turn the corner. Let's roll the play by forcing him back to where he came from right here. You see right now, Boatwright is keeping him on one side of the floor. He blows up the play. They can't get the ball reversed. Great help right there by DeAndre Daniels bluffing in the gap, and they get a stop. When you're playing against that ball screen continuity, the best way to blow up that play is to keep the ball on the side of the floor and not let it get to the middle. Connecticut, terrific job right there, downing that side ball screen.
And that's keyed their offense as well, as they've got an 8-0 run working with some transition points over the last couple of minutes to tie the game.
Got to get stops.
Finney Smith patiently allows the flyby, but dragged his pivot foot, so it's another Gator turnover. That's 6.
Reporting back in for the Gators, number 4.
Patrick Young comes back on. He'll replace Will You Get.
Number 15, Will You Get.
Calhoun, the old school floater, comes up short. Out of bounds, it'll stay with the Huskies. Tune in tomorrow on ESPN. Even more college action. The Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, and it's a doubleheader. Indiana, Syracuse at 7:15. Michigan, Duke at 9:15. And triple is hit by Boatwright.
Part of the special situation package underneath out of bounds. Ryan Boatwright doing a nice job of shot faking, sweeping it through, knocking out a big-time jumper.
Wilbekin pulls up. Just rolls off the rim. Kept alive on the offensive glass by Finney Smith, but taken back by UConn. Boatwright shakes and bakes. Stripped away, but a foul called. And Casey Prather thought he had it clean, but Jamie Luckey says no. And Michael Stevens tries to calm down the Florida senior.
Boatwright attacking off the bounce. Quite honestly, I think Casey Prather came up with a good, clean steal, playing with his hands above the basketball.
Then Dorian Finney-Smith.
Every once in a while, Jamie's Luckey kind of can miss one. He's a pretty good official, but you're going to make mistakes.
They actually called the foul on Dorian Finney-Smith. That's his second. So maybe Prather did get it clean, but his teammate was called for the foul.
Man, Scotty Wilbekin staying down on that shot fake. He is a terrific on-ball defender.
Boatwright splits the defense. That's off the mark. Breimaw couldn't keep it alive. Out of the deck, it's a held ball. And the possession arrow will give it to Florida.
Florida really struggling finishing around the basket. 2 or 3 possessions. Dorian Finney-Smith, he's got to the front of the rim. He's got to think score first and then drop it off. He's got to play through contact. That's one thing Billy Donovan's really working with him on. He's 6'8". He's big enough, long enough, and strong enough to finish. He's got to believe in that thing and just take it right to the front of the rim. By the way, the nickname is Dodo, named after his grandmother.
You know that because he was a McDonald's All-American that you got to go to Virginia Tech, and now he ends up here at Connecticut.
Terrific kid.
Or check that at Florida.
I wouldn't mind him at Connecticut. A really terrific kid and a really skilled basketball player. Right now, Florida trying to get the ball back inside, trying to get to the line.
35, Amita Breimaw.
Amita Breimaw called for the foul. And with UConn over the limit. That's the 18th foul, so it will be a 1-and-1 for Patrick Young. And Patrick Young's free throw numbers have decreased year by year. 75% as a freshman, 59% as a sophomore, 49% as a junior. He's at 55% as a senior coming into tonight, but he has struggled to find his offensive game as the years have progressed, and here he gets the roll.
He's almost, you look at the guy, and he's a mountain masquerading as a man. I mean, he's almost too big. He's so physically imposing that I'm not sure he lost some of his fluidity. I mean, at one point, some people thought he was going to be a small forward. He's a low post guy. He rebounds the ball in the defensive end. He's a physical post defender, but he really struggles scoring the ball.
He's a two-time SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. He is everything that you want the face of your program to be. But his offensive game hasn't matched his physical development as the years have gone on.
Great job of Scotty Wilbekin down in that ball screen, keeping it on the side, and basically blowing up that ball screen action.
Boatwright gives it up. Daniel hits the triple.
Great job of Boatwright attacking the big on the down and throwing back to Daniels for the three.
Prather right out the traffic, but it's pinned by Brimo. Take back at midcourt by Young. Young goes at Brimo with the old school hook.
I like that now. Rolling hook. It's a big shot at Georgetown. Roy Hibbert, he loved that big rolling hook. It's a 7-footer. I wonder if Jay Billis had that rolling hook back in the day. What do you think?
I think his version would be yes.
Yes?
Shot clock under 10 for UConn. 30 seconds to go in the first half. Boatwright got caught. Calhoun throws it to no man's land. And now a chance for Florida, down by 3 to hold for the final shot of the first half.
Terrific job defensively right there, being alert on and off the ball. They shrunk the court, kept the game in front. And there's a rule in basketball. You can leave your feet to shoot and pass, but you can't leave your feet to pass and shoot. Right there, if you leave your feet, it's got to be, you're leaving your feet to jump up and make a shot. Then if the defense reacts, you can dump it off. But you can't do it the other way around unless you're like, you know, maybe Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, you know, one of those guys. Maybe LeBron.
Wilbekin with 10 to play here in the first half.
There's going to come some type of ball screen action.
He attacks Boatwright, floats it high off the glass and through. And that will take us to halftime in a one-point game. That was the first half we expected.
Terrific first half, and Scotty Wilbekin getting downhill with the floater. He's an aggressive attacking guard. Shabazz Napier, when UConn was struggling, who'd they go to? Shabazz Napier. When Florida was struggling, who'd they go to? Scotty Wilbekin. These two guards are going to battle for the next 20 minutes.
It's a one-point game. Let's check in with Andy.
All right, thank you, Bob. Scotty Wilbekin had been struggling, gets that basket there at the end. What advice will you give him in the second half in terms of his shooting?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the decision-making down the lane. You know, he tried to make a nice pass to Patrick Young. He traveled. He's gotten in there deep. Some of them have been good shots. He just needs to finish. Our guys have gotten it around the basket. We've turned it over or traveled or missed a lot of shots around. We've got to be able to finish better.
Shabazz Napier and Ryan Boatwright have hit timely shots. How do you contain them in the second half?
Well, we've done a good job on them. I think their threes have certainly hurt us, but we've tried to contain those guys to a certain level. You're going to give up something. As long as it's not threes from those two guys, you're going to live with pull-up jump shots as long as they're challenged.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Andy.
Back to you, Bob.
All right, Andy, terrific first half. 6 lead changes and a one-point game. It's time for Steve Weissman and the coach Bruce Pearl, the Land Rover halftime report. Steve?
All right, thank you, Bob. This is the Land Rover halftime report over on ESPNU right now. Let's get you caught up on Auburn and Iowa State. Of course, the Tigers football team coming off that huge win against Alabama. First half, Cyclones up 10. DeAndre Kane, Monty Morris for 3. They were jacking up the threes in the first half.
Did he call back on that one?
He did not.
Well, they can really shoot the 3 ball, though.
How about Matt Thomas for 3? Less than 4 minutes to go in the first. DeAndre Kane transfer from Marshall, averaged 16 points, 8 boards, and 5 dimes. It is a 20-point lead for the Fighting Fred Hoibergs right now as we welcome you into the Landover halftime report. Steve Weissman, 2-time National Coach of the Year, Bruce Pearl. We got a great one going on in stores right now. 1-point lead for UConn. It's gone back and forth. What do you make of that run, though, by the Huskies late?
Well, they were struggling scoring against Florida's defense. Both of these coaches are 2 brilliant offensive ball screen coaches. They also know how to defend it. But late in the half, UConn executed this play beautifully. Florida's trying to keep the ball on one side of the floor, and they're able to do it, but they're able to drive it baseline and then pass back And obviously, DeAndre Downing is a stretch foreman, and that's a great way to attack icing the ball screen.
How did Florida get the early lead, though?
Florida went to their strengths. UConn is, if there's a weakness, they're weak on the inside. And that's where Florida went. They pound that ball in there, and they have great athleticism. Here, Casey Prather, who averaged, 3 last year? He's averaging 19 this year. He stays with his own and uses that athleticism. Now, UConn's trying to ice the ball screen here, and they do. But then they reset. And Amita Brima does not come out, and Scotty Wilbekin knocks a shot down. It's good to keep it on one side, but you got to get help in the post stepping up. Now look at this post play. Let's throw it in there. Let's take a probe, reset, get it inside out. Deeper post again. Now let's go opposite. There's Casey Prather, great spacing. UConn has lost sight of the ball, and the senior to senior converts. Florida's hanging in there in a really tough place to play.
Shabazz Napier with 12 points. If you're Coach Donovan, how do you change the defense against him?
Well, I don't change the defense, Steve, because they've only given up, 30 points? I think they're doing a great job. But when UConn needed a bucket, they got the ball to Shabazz Napier. He's got 12 of their 30.
Well, he's the only D1 player averaging at least 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists this season. Much more straight ahead here. We got some great games tomorrow night in the Big Ten ACC Challenge, including Duke and Michigan. Coach will tell you what the Blue Devils have to do to win.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by AT&T, Rethink Possible, and The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug, in theaters everywhere December 13th. This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond.
There were some Sunday shockers, other than Wichita State winning, which wasn't really a shock. Doug McDermott, though, entering the day averaging nearly 30 points a game, held to 7, Coach.
Isaiah Armwood played him one-on-one. George Washington chose not to leave Creighton's three-point shooters. They tried to make a score, and he couldn't.
And Creighton lost. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State's Marcus Smart also had a rare poor performance as the Cowboys lost to Memphis.
He's better when he sets up his teammates. He tried too hard to score, and Memphis's guard shut him down.
Had a career-high 39 the last time the two teams played. It was 4 13 clean shooting in this one. Roy Williams taking North Carolina down to Birmingham to play his old assistant Jared Haas in UAB. And the Tar Heels come out losers.
Give him credit for taking his team on the road, but they've got to give more effort. They got rebounded by 21 by UAB.
Tar Heels shot just 1 of 12 from beyond the arc. Check out this. The offense for North Carolina, very inconsistent. Scored a season-high 93 in that win over Louisville, a season-low 59 yesterday.
Well, Marcus Page can't carry this team offensively every night. They miss P.J. Harrison and Leslie McDonald's outside shooting.
Doesn't get any easier. Wednesday night, North Carolina going to Michigan State. You can see that on ESPN. You can see this tomorrow night on ESPN. Duke and Michigan, ACC Big Ten Challenge. Of course, Indiana, Syracuse as well. Duke leads the all-time series over Michigan 21-8. They've won 2 straight and 9 of the last 10 meetings. It is time now for our Pearls of Wisdom with the great Bruce Pearl. And when we talk about Duke and Michigan, of course, they've met a plethora of times. And one time in the national championship game back in '92, Duke takes out the Fab Five. What are you looking for from the Blue Devils' defense in this ballgame?
Well, I'm concerned about Duke's defense because they can't do what they've historically done, and that is extend on the perimeter and make it virtually impossible for you to run your offense. With the rule changes, they can't put your hands on you, and guys are just driving by defensively. Now look at the 5 Duke defenders. They're all seeing the ball, but they're not seeing their man. It kicks out, and a little shot fake, the lane is wide open. There's nobody to take a charge because of the charge block rule, and there's no shot blocker at the rim to protect the rim. And then post to post. People are going to go inside against Duke. Arizona is the case here. Jabari Parker has got to be in the midline. He's got to get inside of that cutting big man and not to let the cutting post get in. Teams are going to continue to go inside against Duke where they can score. And then, of course, inside shots are going to lead to inside rebounds. Duke ranks like 300th in the nation in post defense right now. That's the way to beat Duke. I just don't know if Michigan could do it.
Who's going to guard Jabari Parker, though, for Michigan?
Well, the rules are helping Duke offensively because they are really effective on the bounce. And Jabari Parker is a nightmare to match up with. If he plays 4, it'll be Glenn Robinson III. If he plays the 5, Mitch McGary, Morgan, they can't cover him.
Tickets for this game averaging $545. Of course, you can watch it, not for free, you pay for cable, but watch it on ESPN if you can't get into Cameron Indoor. ACC Big Ten Challenge getting underway. 6 great matchups tomorrow on the ESPN networks. The ACC won the first 10 challenges. The Big Ten won 3 straight from 09 to 2011. And, this is a great slate. We'll be right back.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. Welcome back to the Land Rover Halftime Report.
Stephen Bruce back with you. We are about 40 minutes away from kickoff. Monday Night Football. Drew Brees and the Saints taking on Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. Winner of this one has the inside track for the 1 seed in the NFC and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Should be a great one over on ESPN. Meanwhile, Andy Enfield going to have a new coaching neighbor at USC. According to ESPN's Joe Shad and Brett McMurphy, Washington coach Steve Sarkisian has accepted the head position at USC. Trojans fired Lane Kiffin earlier this year, and Ed Orgeron, who serves as the interim head coach, said he is leaving USC to pursue head coaching opportunities. Sarkisian really turned the Huskies program around. UW was tied for 117th in the FBS win percentage in the 5 seasons before he arrived. But in the past 5, the Huskies, 34-29, they've been to 3 bowl games. DeAndre Daniels doing work right now for the Huskies. He's got 8, a 1-point lead for UConn. Second half from Stores forthcoming.
Welcome back to ESPN College Basketball. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. Set for the start of the second half here in Stores. It's a 1-point game. 6 different lead changes in the first half between Florida and UConn. Bob Wischusen here with Seth Greenberg. Andy Katz will join us in just a moment. UConn took a punch early from the Gators and responded.
They did respond, and they responded by Shabazz Napier making a play, creating separation, and knocking down a big shot, because that's what Shabazz Napier does. When they get stuck offensively, Kevin Ollie goes to Shabazz Napier. And for Florida, Scotty Wilbekin, he made big plays. Shabazz Napier, he can hurt you so many different ways. He's a play starter and a playmaker, but here off of his tight curl does a nice job of being shot ready. Then, 5-point game, Connecticut needs a bucket. He takes the basketball, creates separation, nice step back, and then coming out of the timeout, wide pin down off of Brima, he knocks down the 3. Scotty Wilbekin, they only have 2 threes. He's got both of them. Connecticut's done a nice job on Michael Frazier. Here, underneath that bounce special situation, he knocks down the 3. And here, quick ball rustle. so they down the ball screen. One hard dribble, gets his feet underneath him, and then the last play of the half, nice little teardrop to end the half. Now what's got to happen is Florida's got to continue to get stops. The key will be which guard can contain the other down the stretch.
12 in the first half for Napier, 9 in the first half for Wilbekin. They led their respective teams, and already we've got a will you get foul to start off the second half. And let's check in with Andy Katz.
Well, I just spoke with Kevin Ollie right before he got onto the court. He says, look, we've got to move the basketball more. We were too much on one side. As for Scotty Wilbekin, he says we've got to keep him out of the lane. To quote Kevin Ollie, he says we've got to protect our yard. You saw at the end, he got inside their yard. But Ollie says, look, we got a 1-point lead at the half.
Got to build a bigger fence. Scotty Wilbekin can jump over just about anything you put up.
Guarding the yard is so important. That is keeping the ball out in the perimeter, especially if you're going to be playing in gaps.
Tough floater by DeAndre Daniels, who's averaging 13 and a half a game. He's already in double figures tonight.
Kevin Ollie likes that play. That's DeAndre Daniels going downhill, attacking the basket, and not settling.
Wilbekin pulls up and answers.
When you're playing Florida, you cannot let the ball get to the middle of the floor. And Wilbekin does a good job of coming off that ball screen tight. Late help, nice middle game.
He's the first player for the Gators in double figures.
He's got to play 37, 38 minutes. He's the only point guard with Casey Hill's injury.
His entire night is built around the TV timeouts, basically, isn't it? As off the mark as DeAndre Daniels.
Billy's done a great job. Right before the television timeout, you'll see him rest Scotty Wilbekin for about 30 seconds. He gets used to the timeout. All of a sudden, now your best player gets a 2-minute rest.
Score the bucket plus the foul for Casey Prather as he continues to be an attacking player. He had no scorer resume before this season. He's averaging 19 a game this year.
We talked about the X factor. He's not settling. You know what he's doing? You know what's happening with Connecticut? They're thinking shot block. You know what he's thinking? Nose drop, taking it right to the front of the rim.
So Florida has the lead back as Philip Nolan goes to the bench with his third foul. Check that, his fourth foul, pardon me. So Philip Nolan might be done for a while.
It's great to see a senior really recognize who he is and embrace and play to his strengths. And you got to give Billy Donovan credit for the patience he's had with him, but you got to give Casey credit for buying into the role of playing the way he needs to play to be successful.
And Patrick Young rip away the rebound in traffic and spring Wilbekin. Wilbekin with the lob and the finish by Prather. Sports Center top 10, roll the tape.
No doubt. I think it's going to be a Sports Center top 10 with a Kevin Ollie timeout.
A timeout called by Kevin Ollie as Florida's got the 4-point lead. They open up the second half with a 7-0 run.
Great job of Casey Prather running that wing hard. Scotty Wilbekin, look at him all finish. All of a sudden, the Gators are on a run.
SportsCenter top 10 nominee Scotty Wilbekin to Casey Prather.
Casey Prather, look at him run the floor here. They secure the basketball. Bam, he's off and running. Scotty Wilbekin does a great job. Freeze it right here. Of looking off the defense for a second. Prather runs the court to the front of the rim. Great job of Scotty Wilbekin looking off the defense, throwing up where only Casey Prather can get it. Casey Prather doing a terrific job of exploding up the floor and running the court hard.
Prather now leads all scorers with 13. And Florida's got the 4-point lead. The lob inside, and that's too easy for Amita Brahma.
Amita Brahma doing a nice job of sealing the weak side forward. It looked to me like Florida came out in a little 2-3 zone. Nice recognition by Connecticut.
Brahma, a 7-footer that grew up playing soccer in Ghana. He's only been playing organized basketball for 3 years. So they describe him as a baby. Patrick Young is anything but. Back outside to Wilbekin for 3. That comes up way short. Bolt right on a run out. That's a double dribble. And he knows it. The crowd disagrees. He certainly took a bounce and then grabbed it with 2 hands.
Really good job, even though Scotty Wilbekin didn't make that 3. Patrick Young rebounds the basketball. One of the easiest ways to get a room and rhythm 3 is off an offensive rebound. The defense shrinks, and then all of a sudden, you can kick it out. He didn't make the shot, but it was great recognition.
The running one-hander for Young, as some Gator teammates trying to help out Wilbekin and Prather, who have carried the offense.
I like Young on that rolling hook.
Omar Calhoun, nice up fake, knocks down the jumper.
Terrific patience by Omar Calhoun, using his shot fake, being patient, and letting that shot go. Really nice job from the sophomore.
Former New York State Gatorade Player of the Year out of Christ the King. That's his first basket. Prather got caught in midair, and he's called for an offensive foul. It's Calhoun that steps up and draws the first on Prather.
One of the hardest charges to take right now in college basketball is off the ball. You've got to be set before the defense gathers himself. Right now, great job of Omar Calhoun establishing himself prior to Casey Prather planting that foot on his way up to shoot the basketball. I've never complimented officials so much. It's really kind of difficult.
They were not nearly as complimentary of you when I spent some time with them before the game.
Oh, kidding me? When I used to have those out-of-body experiences and they were ready to whack me, I would say, come on, you guys love me.
Calhoun can't hit from the corner. Dorian Finney-Smith, a Seth Greenberg protege with the rebound. Wilbekin gives it up. You get jump hook. That rolls off. Prather on the offensive glass. Took it away from Omar Calhoun.
When you post the ball, the defense shrinks. It gives you an opportunity to get to the offensive glass. Dorian Finney-Smith, by the way, he gets a rebound every 2.5 minutes. That's absolutely absurd. Now, what he's got to do now, besides rebound the ball, he's got to finish around the basket. Terrific rebound.
Napier's been quiet to start the second half. Behind the back to DeAndre Daniels. 10 to shoot. Poked away by Yeget. Saves it to Wilbekin. Ahead of the field to Prather. Prather goes right at Calhoun. Lays it in. 17 for Prather. And Florida's got a 6-point lead.
Will Yeget, what a great 50-50 hustle play right there. Extending that play. Great job of looking up the floor. Once again, Florida running the court.
That's a big shot for UConn.
When UConn needs a bucket, who do they go to? Shabazz Napier.
Wilbekin with the blow-by and the reverse.
Napier expecting that side ball screen. He's down in the ball screen, but the weak side defense not alert. Wilbekin doing a nice job of taking advantage of what the defense gave him.
Daniels fouled on the spin. That'll go against Dorian Finney-Smith. Will step aside. This game has been every bit of what we expected, and the stars are out tonight. Shabazz Napier, a big triple.
His basketball IQ is off the charts. He plays with a poise. He plays with confidence. Of course, he can shoot the basketball. He's a clutch player, and he believes in himself. He thinks he's the best guard in America.
Shabazz Napier closing in on 1,400 points here in Connecticut. And that's one point guard talking about another, how Kevin Ollie values what Napier is to come.
Napier understands the moment. He understands when he needs to get others involved and when he needs to take over the game and score it. He has so many different ways to score. Off the ball screen, he can create space, but most importantly, when the game's on the line, that guy number 13, he's going to make plays and he's going to look to attack.
Andy Katz.
Remember what Billy Donovan told me walking off at the half. He says, look, you can give up some of those timely shots to Napier and to Boatwright, but not the threes. 3 of Napier's 5 field goals are threes. The only field goal for Boatwright is a 3. Keep in mind, Florida State not as good a shooting team, but on Friday night, Florida State was 2 of 10 on threes already. UConn has 7.
Well, that time Boatwright went back door, and maybe that's the counter to aggressive perimeter defense trying to shut down the threes as now Boatwright gets to the line.
They're trying to force Boatwright and Napier to catch it out of the scoring zone. They played up the line a little bit, forced him to back cut. And again, Kevin Ollie recognizing this, and this is his NBA background. Attacking matchups. What does that mean? Attacking what the defense is going to do or who's guarding a specific player. And right there, out of the timeout, Napier drives it hard at the defender. The defender gets up in the passing lane. Boatwright with a nice backdoor.
Five points now for Boatwright, who's been in double figures 4 out of the first 7 games for UConn. And it's a 3-point game. And a foul called on the drive as Prather got to the baseline again. And that foul will be called against Tyler Olander, who sat on the bench for the most part in the first half with a couple of fouls. Picks up his 3rd.
Look for Frazier to come off a stagger right here.
Napier, nice tap to Daniels. Numbers. Napier gives it back, but Wilbekin breaks it up. Wilbekin got caught in midair, threw it to nowhere, gets a return. How about the defensive play by Wilbekin to break up the 3-on-1?
Wilbekin is such a good defender. He's so alert. He reads the passer's eyes. Thought Napier committed himself a little early in that fast break.
As Olander caught on a switch and knocks down the jumper over the top of the center.
How complete is Scotty Wilbekin? Seriously. Knocks down the 3, gets to the rim on a runner. Middle game. Recognizes the mismatch, the big on little mismatch, and attacks it. Great recognition by the Florida guard.
Nice ball movement. Olander from the corner. That's no good. Tapped around, but a foul called on Connecticut. It looks like it will go against DeAndre Daniels. And you can tune in tomorrow on ESPN for more college hoops action. It's a doubleheader in the Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. It's 7:15, Indiana-Syracuse. At 9:15, Michigan and Duke. It's the Big Ten ACC Challenge tomorrow night. Both games also live on Watch ESPN.
How about Syracuse? What a great trip they had to Maui. Watching the development of Tyler Ennis and Trevor Cooney and also those 2 front court players, C.J. Fair and Jeremy Grant. Man, do they fly around offensively and defensively.
You get reposts and is fouled by Giffey.
Billy Donovan really trying to punch it inside. Think about this. Florida 24 points in the paint. UConn only 8. And that's an issue that UConn's going to deal with all season. They've got to find a way to create some inside offense, to put pressure on the interior defensively rather than just off the bounce. But Florida doing a really nice job of pushing the ball inside.
Each team with 4 fouls so far in the second half. Young off the glass, won't go. And here comes Napier. Giffey free on the baseline. 1 and done again for UConn. Another rebound for Prather. Prather right around Giffey and lays it in.
Man, that guy's fun to watch. Catches it on the wing, changes direction, uses the rim to protect the ball. I mean, this guy is competing each and every play, attacking the basket and making the defense react. This cat's playing at a high level right now, Bob.
He's right at his per-game average now with 19 on the road against a top 12 team. This is a player that through his first 90 games at Florida averaged 3 points a game. Now as a senior, he has exploded as a scorer, and another turnover as Michael Frazier sagged down and got the steal.
Really good team defense. Call that sink and fill. You drive it baseline, the weak side defender's got to seal down. Very alert defense for Florida.
Wilbekin penetrated again and ended up under the basket with Yaget. He lost it out of bounds. So Connecticut will have it back.
Casey Prather, look at him, his poise, comes to a stop, changes speed, explodes, uses the rim. More importantly, you're seeing a senior-oriented basketball team, a team with 4 seniors, playing with the maturity and the toughness of a winning program. And that's really the difference right now. 4 seniors playing like seniors.
Casey Prather has 11 points already in the second half, 5 for 5 from the field, and they'll continue to need that production because you look at the schedule that Billy Donovan has set for this program early. They went to Wisconsin and played a pure road game at the Kohl Center. Now they're here in Stores. Their next 2 games up against Kansas and Memphis, both on ESPN.
Yeah, Kansas, an angry Kansas team, I suspect. I bet practice was a little bit interesting today in Lawrence. Memphis coming off that huge win, the payback win against Oklahoma State. Love the way they executed down the stretch in that basketball game. Jerron Johnson did a great job those last 3-4 minutes on Marcus Smart. And don't forget Richmond. Richmond's a hard prep. Billy Donovan, he's not giving these guys a break. They are going to have to compete right up to the start of league play. How about this, Bob? Remember, they played that Wisconsin game without Scotty Wilbekin.
Andy Katz with more.
Well, the Wisconsin game was a return game from last year. That Kansas game was scheduled for them in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. But Billy scheduled this UConn series, the Memphis as part of the Jimmy V Classic, and the reason being because he knew he had an experienced team, didn't know he was going to have these suspensions and injuries, but willing to schedule up for this purpose.
Well, that shot goes up from Niels Giffey, and that is a momentum changer for Connecticut. The crowd back in it. It's a 4-point game. Comes Napier off the turnover. He'll attack and finish. It's a 2-point game.
Great job of Shabazz Napier in the mismatch, using his quickness to get around Dorian Finney-Smith.
Napier gambled. The scramble for Connecticut ends up in a takeaway by Napier. He'll attack again. Off the window and won't go, but the follow ties the game. DeAndre Daniels capping a 7-0 run. Wilbekin right back the other way, knocked away by Daniels in the teeth of that Connecticut student section. Midway through the second half, tied at 48 here in Stores. Stores were tied. A UConn run keyed by their seniors, Shabazz Napier and Niels Giffey.
Coming out of the timeout, Kevin Ollie throws up some wizardry, gets Giffey to 3, and then on the defensive end, Shabazz Napier in the mismatch uses his quickness to create offense out of the defense. Then right there, Scotty Wilbekin leaving his feet. Shabazz Napier reading the passer's eyes, running through the pass lane. Great job of DeAndre Daniels staying with the play.
Taking a look at the work UConn has done coming out of a timeout. 4 of 7 from the field. They've gotten to the line as well. 8 possessions out of timeouts. They've generated 11 points.
That's Kevin Ollie's NBA background. Attacking matchups out of timeouts.
A turnover out of a timeout for Florida.
Pretty good execution by Florida. Unfortunately, Casey Prather didn't come to a complete stop. UConn forces the turnover.
3 straight turnover possessions for the Gators. And now UConn with a chance to take the lead. Napier, over you get. Knocks it down! I think he's happy he came back for his senior year.
I think Kevin Ollie drew up a pretty good misdirection play right there out of the timeout. Napier with great patience. He does what Napier does. He did what Napier does. He knocks down big shots.
Young in the post, right at Olander. Olander does a nice job to shut him down. Shot clock at 7. Wilbekin for the tie. Daniels the rebound. Napier again. Prather is able to grab the loose ball in the midst of a 10-0 Connecticut run. And Prather spins around Giffey. Scores, wave it off, traveling called again on Casey Prather.
Shabazz Napier doing a nice job of stepping the defender off to create a little bit of space, jumps up, knocks down that 3. He's feeling it right now, Bob.
Giffey off the screen. That's off the mark. Here comes Wilbekin. 3-on-2 for the Gators. You gets the trailer. Wilbekin got caught in midair. You get with the offensive rebound. Stripped away, but a foul call.
Scotty Wilbekin the last 2 possessions, leaving his feet, not ready to make a play. Leaving his feet, hoping that a play basically develops, but he's got to be stronger and make better decisions, those advantage, disadvantage. He's got to think score first. Right now, he's coming and attacking and thinking pass. He's got to think get to the rim. Good fake by you get. Playing, drawing the contact, getting to the line. And how do you stop a run? Get to the foul line.
The crowd thought the foul was called on Lasan Chroma, and he looked like he had the emphatic strip of the ball. It was actually DeAndre Daniels with the body from behind on you get, called for his second foul. On Wednesday, the Big Ten ACC Challenge continues on ESPN. First at 7, number 5 Ohio State will take on Maryland. That'll be a conference matchup before too long. And then at 9, North Carolina faces number 1 Michigan State. The Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. The next 2 nights on ESPN. Both of those games also live on Watch ESPN as we will update our one-on-one factor before the game. You thought these were going to be key points. Casey Prather, the X factor, he has been everything and more tonight for the Gators.
Casey Prather, how's he doing? We talk about the increase in score, but how he's doing. He's running the floor, he's getting to the offensive glass, and he's playing through contact. And DeAndre Daniels, he's rebounding balls outside of his area. He's pursuing the basketball on the glass. He's also giving him a little bit of inside offense. So both of the keys right now, Prather, he's got to continue to attack. And UConn down the stretch, they must rebound the basketball.
4 minutes without scoring for Florida. Still down by only 3. And you gets the bounce.
Some soft rims.
Last season, when Will Yeget was in the lineup, Florida was 25-5. When he was out of the lineup, they were 4-3. He's a player that averages 5 points, 5 rebounds, but he knows his role, stays in his lane, and plays a big role for Billy Donovan.
Great blend player, and you need blend players when you're trying to build a championship culture.
Daniels rolls it off the rim. Loose ball, Olander to the deck, and instead it ends up with Prather. Prather softly to the goal. Can't get it to go. And Chroma runs it down in the corner. A takeaway, though, by Young. And he's fouled. Hustle play in the front court. Good anticipation by Patrick Young.
Patrick Young does a lot of things that don't show up in the box score. I mean, that's an alert defensive play. He keeps balls alive on the glass, but here's your 6'9" front court player starting to move in defensive transition, sees the play develop, and makes a great play off of anticipation.
Shabazz Napier called for his second, and that's the 6th team foul against Connecticut. So it'll be free throws the rest of the way for Florida. Only 4 team fouls on the Gators here in the second half.
Connecticut's done a great job on Michael Frazier, making it hard for him to get anything in room and rhythm.
Young throws it into the backcourt. Wilbekin tracks it down, and that's a violation. Florida turns it over. That's their 14th giveaway. A 2-point game. 7:43 to go.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Mazda. It takes conviction, creativity, and courage to build cars worth driving. This is the Mazda way. What do you drive?
Steve Westman in studio over on ESPNU. Iowa State and Auburn. Melvin Edgem, bucket plus the foul. He's got 14 right now. Tigers, they're going to need a miracle like they did against Alabama in football this week and a comeback in that one. Isaiah Taylor and Texas taking on Vanderbilt next in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. About a half hour away from tip. Back to Storrs, Connecticut.
It's a 2-point game with 7:43 to go, and so much tonight has been decided both ways in the paint.
Yeah, I think that Connecticut's doing a terrific job when the ball goes into the paint of scraping down and doubling on the bounce. And right here, the ball goes into post, freeze it. Nels Kavai, he sees the ball in the post. Right now, he's going to scrape down on the post and go on the bounce and double on the bounce. Watch as soon as Patrick Young now puts the ball on the floor. There he goes. Ball goes down on the ground. Boom. Nels Kavai goes and scrapes it, gets the ball out of Patrick Young's hand. Nice job of shrinking on the backside. Connecticut doing a nice job of getting the ball out of Patrick Young's hand on the post up.
Boat right for three. Got it!
a timeout. Kevin Ollie attacks that Michael Frazier-Boatwright matchup. Boatwright makes a tough shot, but he gets him isolated on the right side of the floor.
That ties the largest lead for Connecticut, up to 5. Florida at one point led by 8. Young is bumped. That will go against Olander. That's his 4th.
Coming out of the timeout right here. Nice job of quickly reversing the ball, moving the basketball. Boatwright gets the matchup he wants. He attacks Frazier off the bounce. Kevin Ollie once again coming out of the timeout, moving the defense, creating the matchup, and then Boatwright makes the big shot.
Connecticut now 10 of 20 from 3.
The problem with punching the ball down to the block is it's almost a turnover. Patrick Young really struggles from the free throw line. So playing through him down the end of a game, it's kind of a 50-50 proposition because he really struggles from the foul line. Florida in a little bit of 2-3 matchup zone right here.
Boatwright tries to bust the zone. That's off the mark. And there's the rebound to Young. Michael Frazier has been quiet at the offensive end. Young muscles one up inside and draws another foul.
Really good pass by Keith Prather. Great job of getting the ball to a good angle so that Florida can feed the post. Good recognition by Prather and good hard physical post up.
And that will foul out Philip Nolan. Nolan just came on for Olander. Olander has 4. Nolan now has 5. So thin in the front court, size-wise, Connecticut. And let's see what button Kevin Ollie pushes. He's almost compelled to leave Olander on the bench, but now he's without Nolan. Bryma could come back in.
Patrick Young is so physically strong that he can back that Nolan or Bryma down and get 2 feet in the paint and catch it, get it tight. And that's what's difficult for Connecticut right now. Bryma can protect the front of the rim, but they don't have a legitimate low post defender that can stand the post guy up and get him off his mark.
Florida only 8 of 14 as a team at the line. And Young, as we said, only a 55% free throw shooter this season coming into tonight. He's now 3 for 5.
You know, I recruited Michael Frazier, and I watched him work out as a sophomore. Maybe the best workout I've ever seen. The guy missed 3 shots in an hour. Right now, he's got to find a way to get open with room and rhythm and get engaged in this game offensively.
He's only 1 of 3 from the field. 2 points. Came into tonight averaging 14.5. And he has been dead-eye from 3. 54% this season. What a non-factor. Boatwright splits the D. That's blocked, though, from behind by Young. Numbers for Florida. Here comes Wilbekin. Crosses over. Lays one off. Frazier inside. Back to Wilbekin. And a reset. Frazier for 3. He's got it. Oh, there's the step-back triple for Frazier. And Florida retakes the lead.
Great job of Scotty Wilbekin reading the defense. And Michael Frazier, you know, as a shooter, you got to see one go in. The key for him is now, can Billy Donovan come back to him and try to get him freed off of some type of action? Florida back to the zone right here.
Daniels penetrates, floats one home, and it's UConn back on top by a point.
Nice job of Daniels catching it at the high post and making a good decision.
Turnover. 10 lead changes. Florida's largest lead was 8. UConn's largest lead 5. And give credit, I think, to the Gators, because they are playing, as Andy Katz talked about to start tonight's broadcast, with an injury-riddled and at times suspension-riddled thin bench. 7 scholarship players. Offensive foul called on Napier. And basically, Scotty Wilbekin has played every minute tonight, and he's still moving his feet to get in front of a great ball penetration player in Napier and draw an offensive foul.
He plays like a bulldog. He attacks you offensively. He is terrific on the ball defensively. He stays in front. You see Shabazz Napier try to clear him with that inside arm, and that's an offensive foul. Scotty Wilbekin changes this Florida team. If they can get Casey Hill back, Casey Hill, McDonald's All-American, explosive athletic guard, and if they were happen to get Chris Walker, a legitimate 6'10" front court player that can protect the front of the rim, it really changes this basketball team. When you talk about in a year where so many teams can make a run come March. I mean, I can't remember a year, Bob, where there were so many really good competitive basketball teams. When we talk about the Power Six, what about a team like Wichita State? You know, BYU, there are a lot of just really good teams out there.
Finney Smith for three. That hit the backboard first. Right has Finney Smith caught on a switch. Wilbekin in a mismatch with DeAndre Daniels. Daniels trying to pin him down low, and Wilbekin is called for his second foul. Well, Andy, this is a Florida team that could be radically different come the spring than they are right now.
That's right, Bob. Seth mentioned Chris Walker, the McDonald's All-American, who was not eligible this fall semester. He's not in school, but he's taking an online class, and according to the staff, he's got one credit left to pass. If he does, then there's a chance that he will be academically eligible in time for that Jimmy V Classic game against Memphis. Got to be NCAA eligible as well, so there's still a chance, even though he hasn't practiced, been with the team, that he could join this squad in a couple of weeks, and he'd be a huge addition to Florida.
They need some depth. They don't have much of it right now. That's Andy Katz, along with Seth Greenberg on Bob Wischusen. Down the stretch. Giffey with a hop and a turnover. Good job by Patrick Young to stay in the passing lane.
Great job of closing out hard on Michael Frazier, taking away that room and rhythm three.
Wilbekin on Napier. Picks up his dribble and now needs some help. Caught in the lane. Giffey with the deflection. But a timeout called by Billy Donovan from the sideline. That bails out Scotty Wilbekin, who picked up his dribble in no man's land.
Billy Donovan seeing it, what I call advantage, disadvantage. Wilbekin gets in the lane, has nowhere to go. He recognizes it, gets the official's attention. He extends the possession for Florida. Right there, Wilbekin takes it in. When you get 2 feet in the paint, you've got to have some type of penetration reads on the perimeter. You see everyone on the perimeter standing, not moving to an open spot. Billy Donovan recognizes it, jumps up on the corner of the screen, and gets the timeout.
On Wednesday, it's the Big Ten ACC Challenge continuing on ESPN. The doubleheader begins with number 5 Ohio State taking on Maryland at 7, and then the Tar Heels at number 1 Michigan State at 9. The Big Ten ACC Challenge presented by Dick's Sporting Goods the next 2 nights on ESPN. All games also live on Watch ESPN.
Love that Ohio State team. I love their backcourt. Shannon Scott and Aaron Craft are as good on the ball defensively as any 2 guys in the country. How about this? Amir Williams, he's leading him in scoring. Who would have thunk it? I mean, that's absolutely absurd.
That's the Casey Prather of Ohio State.
It's crazy.
How about the play by Wilbekin? Banks it off of Daniels, who had his back turned, almost got the layup. But Breimal was there to guard the rim. Here's Prather with a floater in the lane. Won't go. It may have gone off Napier. The officials will confer.
Pretty good job by Napier, pump faking that off him.
So we'll step aside. 3:41 to go. We've got a 1-point game here at Campbell.
Steve Weissman in studio. Coming up next, Rob Odom and Vanderbilt taking on Texas. The Longhorns won 45 straight home games against unranked non-conference opponents. That's what Odom and Vandy are. Also next on ESPNU, Buddy Hield and Oklahoma taking on Mercer. Mercer, same conference as Florida Gulf Coast. It's a little morsel for you, Seth Greenberg.
Terrific atmosphere here tonight in Stores. 3:41 to go in a one-point game, and there is plenty of potential NBA talent on the floor. Bob Wischusen here with Seth Greenberg. And, Coach, that is reflected in some of the household names on hand to take in tonight's game.
25 different credentials were requested. Not 25 teams, but 25 credentials. Danny Ainge, Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway. I wonder if he's checking right now on his phone to see how Tim Hardaway Jr. is playing tonight.
Well, he lit it up at the Garden in his last game, but it was another loss for the Knicks.
Painful to watch. Where's Frazier?
We saw Jared Jeffries here earlier tonight. He's doing some scouting work for the Nuggets. So NBA brass taking notice of the Gators and Huskies with 3.5 minutes to go.
Coming out of the timeout, Billy Donovan trying to get what I call an elevator play with Michael Frazier coming through the middle of the elevator for a three.
Finney Smith has it knocked away. Young saves it right to Boatwright. Boatwright goes right at Wilbekin and draws the foul. That's the third on Scotty Wilbekin.
I love Boatwright in transition. He takes it right at you. He doesn't take it away from you. He doesn't settle. He's coming right to the front of the rim to try to make a play.
We talked to Kevin Ollie earlier today at the shoot-around for UConn about Boatwright and the maturity of his game. He's now in his junior season. And Kevin Ollie described it as like a pitcher. He's not throwing all fastballs anymore. He's got a changeup. He's got a slider. He changes speeds. He's added some finesse element to his game where when he was a freshman, it was just all 100 miles an hour downhill.
Yeah, the guy was road running. I mean, he was full blast, could get it foul line to the foul line, didn't see plays develop, didn't read the defense. You understand, great point guards or great guards, they see all 5 defenders. You know, Ryan Boatwright, at the speed he was playing, he didn't see 4 of those guys. Now the game slowed down for him a little bit. He sees all 5 defenders, and he creates separation and knocked down a shot.
UConn with only 5 points at the free throw line, but they've hit 10 threes. Wilbekin, too strong. Tapped it to Prather. And Wilbekin's hurt. Wilbekin holding his ankle.
That's the last thing that Florida needs with Casey Hill with a high ankle sprain. Scotty Wilbekin just comes back. You're talking about a basketball team with a limited depth in the backcourt.
Let's take another look. On the tap to Prather, he immediately went down after rolling the ankle. And there it is. Landed on Boatwright. And just an unfortunate collision.
He's a tough kid. Billy Donovan's so proud of his development. He's a Gainesville kid. I mean, staying home. There's so when you're a local kid, there's so many distractions, so many different groups of people that are pulling at you. And Billy Donovan is so proud of the development that he's made. You know, everyone talks about the suspension, the 6 games. The reason that Billy Donovan never announced the number of games he was going to be suspended is because he did a contract with Scotty Wilbekin. And if Scotty Wilbekin fulfilled the contract, then he was going to be eligible to play. If he didn't, then maybe it would have been 7 games or 8 games. But rather than announce a number and then have to change it, he decided to say, all right, here's to get back by this game, this is what you must do. And he's really proud of the change in Wilbekin's attitude, his leadership, and his approach.
And now Dorian Finney-Smith becomes one of the primary ball handlers without Wilbekin.
And they're looking to run Michael Frazier off baseline bumps and rover action.
Young, left hand gets it to go. And Florida in a 57-57 tie with under 3 minutes remaining.
How about your seniors stepping up? How about going inside? And now we're changing defense, a little 1-3-1 lane zone. Last time Florida did this, they went diagonal to the block.
Lob to the rim. Won't go. Rymov, they have been fouled. A foul has been called. We'll go against Frazier.
Michael Frazier.
Really good patience by Patrick Young, creating a little space with his shoulder. That's a left-handed jump hook. Great recognition, going at the shot blocker, and then Florida goes 1-3-1. Connecticut does a great job of recognizing, squaring it off, keeping Brima opposite the ball, and having him seal for the diagonal pass.
Amida Brima grew up in Ghana. He was a soccer player growing up, but at some point when you get to 6'5", 6'6", 6'8", someone says, you know, basketball might not be a bad idea. And here he is.
A pretty good goal.
Playing for UConn, only 3 years as an organized basketball player.
Carl Hobbs, who played with Patrick Ewing, says he reminds him of Patrick Ewing as a young player. That's a pretty good comparison right there now.
No Wilbekin on the floor for Florida. 14 to shoot. Inside it's you get. The follow, though, by Patrick Young. He's got 14 points and now 7 rebounds.
When you get it into the post on a catch, it basically shrinks the defense and gives you a chance to get to the offensive glass. Still in that 1-3-1. They've got to take away that diagonal pass. Notice this defense. It's not a typical flat 1-3-1. They're trying to play passing lanes, distort passing lanes. I like that Casey Prater trying to pick off that skip pass.
Shot clock to 8. Knifing inside and drawing the foul is Croma. So Lasan Croma will go to the free throw line.
When you play that 1-3-1, those wing guys got to come outside up. If they come inside out, it's too easy to reverse the basketball. And that's one of those plays. Croma attacking the basket. Did he initiate the contact? Was the defense standing there, or did he create contact by attacking the body of the defender? And that's the tough thing for the officials right now.
Andy Katz has an update on Scotty Wilbekin. Andy?
Now we go. Here we go. They brought Scotty Wilbekin back to the locker room to work on that right ankle, and at this point, the Florida staff does not know. There is not communication right now as to whether or not he'll be coming back into the game for the last minute and a half.
Tied at 59.
Kind of surprised that Connecticut doesn't try to get after Dorian Finney-Smith a little bit now.
Here's Young, one-on-one against Olander. The jump hook goes down, plus the foul. Patrick Young stepping up in the absence of his senior point guard.
How about Billy Donovan pounded it inside, and Patrick Young delivered. Here's a guy that most times needs an angle. He works to the middle, does a nice job of reaching back with his baseline leg, and the big fella, you know what? As a senior, you want to play through your seniors. Patrick Young putting his arms around this game right now, and you got to give the perimeter players for Florida credit for playing through him.
11 points in the second half, 16 for the game for Patrick Young. That fouled out Tyler Olander. So Olander and Nolan have both fouled out for Connecticut. So if this game goes to overtime, that is a thin front court right now for Kevin Ollie.
It'll be interesting. This plays into the hands of Kevin Ollie a little bit in some ways. If Florida comes back man-to-man, they've got some matchups they can attack. If Florida comes back 1-3-1, they've got one more jump shooter on the court. So it'll be interesting to see what Billy Donovan does here defensively. Does he come back and play man-to-man, and all of a sudden Patrick Young's got to guard Nels Gafai, or does he come back 1-3-1? If he does, you better find number 5 in the corner.
What a second half for Patrick Young. 3-point lead for Florida. Timeout called by Kevin Ollie. The Gators and Connecticut have both played plenty of close games through the first month of the season. How about Friday night up against the Noles? Florida's up 65-61, 1:15 to go. Then we're tied at 66 with time winding down. Scotty Wilbekin can't hit. Dorian Finney-Smith, an offensive rebound, gets fouled, missed the first, but stepped up and hit the second to put the Gators up by 1. And they would win it as Florida State with their last attempt at the buzzer. No good. 67-66. The Gators win it, and it's Dorian Finney-Smith with one free throw that provides the margin.
Dorian Finney-Smith, he is struggling today. He's really struggling to be strong with basketball, playing through contact. But he finds a way to make plays, especially on the backboards. We played a game against Boston College his freshman year. Coming out of a timeout, we make a play, drive it, same type play. He tips in at the buzzer. Huge win for our basketball team. He just has a way of getting to the offensive glass. Really struggling in the offensive end, not being aggressive, not playing with balance and poise. But down the stretch, most times he has the ability to come up with a big rebound.
Now, Connecticut has also won some close games so far this season. To start off the year in Brooklyn, they beat Maryland by a point. Then they went to the 2K Sports Classic at the Garden, beat Boston College by 2, and beat Indiana by a point to win the championship. So against other power conference competition, Connecticut has found a way to win. Now they're down 3, though, with 1:12 to go.
Interesting to see what Kevin Ollie draws up coming against this 1-3-1. Is he going to try to get Giffey on the baseline, a little baseline screen right here? Watch him pop out.
Napier for the tie. Long rebound and another try as Boatwright will dribble it out of trouble. Giffey skips one to Boatwright. Ball movement. Croma to tie it up. That's off the mark. Back tap by Giffey. Another reset for Connecticut. They still have a timeout. Napier from way outside. We are tied! Plus the foul! Napier's hurt. Fouled by Finney-Smith. A chance for a 4-point play, but now Napier's holding his ankle.
We talk about the Achilles heel of Connecticut, their inability to extend possessions and rebound the ball. They get 2 offensive rebounds. But watch down the stretch. Really good job of screening the point here. And Napier, same exact injury, quite honestly, that we saw happen with Scotty Wilbekin. On the jump shot, he gets caught on the outside foot of Dorian Finney-Smith.
Napier's walking it off, though. Doesn't look to be nearly as severe as the ankle turn for Wilbekin. So Napier will go to the free throw line with a chance to break the tie with a half minute to go, as he has a shot at a 4-point play.
And one thing about the 1-3-1 zone, you've really got to come back and rebound the basketball. You know, your wing guys can't stay up and high because when the ball's shot, they've got to come back to get what I call elbows and blocks. Get back to the foul line elbows and 2 blocks to rebound the ball. Because most times you're giving up 3s, long shots, long rebounds. Florida struggled coming back to rebound the ball.
Now Connecticut will call their final timeout here as Kevin Ollie wants to set up his defense after the Napier free throw. And we have received word from the Florida bench that they're not going to bring Scotty Wilbekin back in this game. He was trying to walk off as best he could the ankle injury, but his ankle turned severe enough that if this game goes to overtime, they're going to play the rest of the night without their point guard and their senior leader. Shabazz Napier obviously is one clutch player, and we found that out. We talked to he and Kevin Ollie over the weekend.
I'm the type of player that gets, excited to see my teammates score, or see my teammates happy. And I know that I can actually score the ball, so it's not a big deal for me to try to be aggressive right away. But when I know I need to be aggressive, when I know my teammates are looking for me, that's when I want to be aggressive.
He was aggressive there. Now he has a chance to break the tie.
Shabazz Napier, a big-time player in big-time moments, but the reason Kevin Ollie used that timeout is because the staff came on the floor to check on him. It was either he had to come out of the game, but they used the timeout, so therefore he could stay in the game and shoot this free throw.
And he makes it. 2 timeouts still for Florida. Let's see if Billy Donovan calls one. It looks like he may when they get in the front court. He's going to let them play. Frazier trying to get loose on the baseline. There he is. Down the lane, Frazier. He lays it in. Florida's up by a point. Connecticut out of timeouts, but Billy Donovan will call one. What a game here in Stores. 17 and a half seconds to go. And let's quickly go back to the studio and check in with Steve Weissman.
All right, thanks, Bob. What a fantastic finish we got in stores. So right now, Texas and Vanderbilt tipping off over on ESPN News. That game will move over here on ESPN2 following the conclusion of Florida, Connecticut. But we might have overtime there, guys.
Well, Steve, it's a one-point game with 17.7 remaining as Billy Donovan calls timeout. Now, where does UConn go?
Well, UConn right now, they've got it, depending on what happens. If Florida's in man-to-man, UConn's going to go to some type of ball screen or flat situation for Shabazz Napier. He's going to win or lose this game for them. On the other hand, does Billy Donovan come back to that 1-3-1? If he does, they better come back and rebound the ball. Down this end, what a great job of Michael Frazier, who's had a hard time freeing himself up. He comes off these baseline screens, I call it rover action, using those two screens on the blocks. Does a good job because the defense trailed him of curling into the lane, forcing now the big to help. The big was late on the help. He's big enough and strong enough to get in the lane and finish. Great job of Frazier being patient, using those rover bumps, what I call them, as he really kind of moves the defense. Defensively, you need to force him to come out one side. You can't let him play off of both of those baseline screens.
What an effort, though, by Florida. They lose Wilbekin down the stretch. So for Scotty Wilbekin to be out, it's both of the point guards without Casey Hill as well. And in total, you've got 6 players that 6 months ago Billy Donovan thought would be huge parts of this team. But right now, he doesn't have to use as he comes down the stretch on the road against the 12th ranked team in the country.
If Florida comes out man-to-man, I expect them to switch everything, try to keep it in front and switch up. If they come 1-3-1, if those wings don't come back and rebound the basketball, they're going to struggle a little bit. Right now, Florida looking to extend their defense a little, just forcing Connecticut to use some time in the backcourt. They're coming out, defending a man-to-man with Casey Prater on Napier. Napier's going to try to make some play off of some type of ball screen.
8 seconds to go.
There's the switch. They're trapping him.
Napier's in trouble with 5 seconds to go. Lost the dribble. Found it again. Leans in. That's no good. Back tap. Napier for the win. He got it. UConn has left the building. They have to come back just to make sure it's good. And here's another look at the scramble, and Napier ends up with the game winner.
They trapped the ball screen, do a great job. The ball is tipped back. Mr. Big Shot steps into it. What does he do? Knocks down another game winner. This guy loves the moment. Florida with a great defensive game plan, but it's not the first shot that beats you most times. It's the second shot. And that's the wrong guy if you're Florida to end up with that second shot.
What a night for Shabazz Napier. 26 points in the game winner. What a win for Connecticut. And what a heartbreaker for a Florida Gators team that is without half their depth chart. And still, they battled tooth and nail on the road tonight here against UConn. But they lose it at the buzzer on a scrambling jumper that ends up in the hands of Napier. The little baby fall away just beats the timer. And Connecticut stays undefeated. And with UConn head coach Kevin Ollie, let's check in with Andy.
All right, thank you, Bob. Kevin, the play at the end of the game. You've said this many times. When you need someone to make a play, you put the ball in the hands of Shabazz Napier. How would you describe that winning play?
I mean, we kept the ball alive, first of all, to give him an opportunity. That's why we got the whole team here. It wasn't just Shabazz, but Shabazz created everything for us. We just played, and we stayed with it. We are fighters. That's what we do. We fight to the last end, and we got 10 toes in. That's what it's all about, UConn basketball.
Late possession wins over Maryland, Boston College, Indiana, now at home against Florida. What does that say again about this UConn team?
We're a pack. We play together. These guys did it. I try to put them in the right positions, but they do it. They all together, and that's what it's all about. It's all together, all for nothing.
Shabazz, come in here for a second. You had to fumble with the ball before you got control. What did you think the chances were that you'd be able to get that shot off before the buzzer?
I mean, it was so slim. I just thought that if I give it a chance, I was try to make it, you know. And I got the good bounce after I missed the shot. Good thing I missed it terribly.
Anytime left on
I
the
just
clock.
put it up there, and you know, God blessed me with that shot, and you know, I'm happy for us.
Why do you feel so comfortable in these last possession situations?
I mean, it comes with experience. When I was a younger kid, you know, on my team, I was the guy that, you know, the go-to guy. But on this team, when you got a bunch of guys who have been go-to guys, they gave me the role. You know, anybody can knock shots down. Any of these guys can take the last shot, but in this guys had a lot of faith in me, and I try my best to make the shot. And you know, like I said, I was blessed.
In baseball, we call that a walk-off home run. What do you call that when you're running off the court?
Man, I got so much momentum just running off. I know my ankle gonna hurt later, but you know, I'm just happy. You know, I kind of ran to the fans because you know the fans, they do so much for us. They got us going when we was down, and you know this team here behind me is just tremendous, man. I can't do nothing without them. You know, I play well, but if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be playing well.
Congratulations, Shabazz.
Thank you.
Let's go back to you, Bob and Seth.
All right, Andy, thanks very much. 14 lead changes tonight, 3 lead changes in the last minute, and 1 lead change in the last half second. Shabazz Napier caps a terrific night here in Storrs. 65-64, UConn wins it. It's the Big 12 SEC Challenge now. Let's go to Austin, Texas.